Hi everybody, welcome to the garage, the court of public opinion. Autumn is, what is it, Pete, a couple of weeks away?
A couple of weeks, yeah.
Pete's here, Gary's here. Yeah, I must admit I like autumn. I actually like winter. But then again, it hasn't been too bad a summer. A few hot days, but anyway. We're nearly through it, ladies and gentlemen. The big announcement on the weekend, $30 billion to be spent on a nuclear submarine construction site at Osborne. 66 billion man-hours to build the thing. Wow. Only a down payment, you understand, $3 billion, but a firm commitment. All good. But I've seen it all before, and so have you. There was Monato. There was the MATS plan, there was the multifunction polis, and as I remember, all conveniently announced just before an election. Ah, what a cynic I am, but what a coincidence. But just remember, when Albo says the government will spend $30 billion, no it won't. You and I will spend $30 billion. Perhaps. We'll see. A good performance. In fact, our greatest performance in any Winter Olympics. Congratulations to everyone involved, and more to come. And we beat Canada. They got snow and we haven't. I don't know how that happened. Anyway, while Australia rides on the crest of an economic slump under Labor, the Libs have a new leader, Angus Taylor, who even on his first day was making all the right noises. I guess it's fairly easy to make right noises on your first day, but anyway, I particularly liked, the government will live within its means so people have the means to live. It's very Kennedy-esque, I thought. Immigration, numbers will be lower, standards will be higher, which I think is terribly important. What else was there? Oh yes, and immigration will only be available for those who will share our values and are prepared to assimilate. And an end to this dysfunctional, divisive multiculturalism stuff. He promises to restore and protect our standard of living, available, affordable housing. He stands for lower taxes, lower inflation and lower interest rates. He will repeal Labor's bad taxes, including a tax on your home, on your super, a tax on you and your children's future. In fact, bad taxes. Just bad. He will grow the economy and therefore employment opportunities. They promise to properly fund the Defence Forces and make Australia a safe environment in which to bring up a family. God, all this sounds good. He doesn't say anything about getting rid of the left-wing political indoctrination that occurs in our schools, or the three flags, or the endless welcomes to country, or the left-wing bias in the ABC. But I guess this was just his first day as leader. Suffices to say there is plenty for Angus Taylor to get on with. He's an Oxford Don. He has a master's in economics. He has the smarts. So what we want to know is just a bit more detail. Angus? I agree with all the goals, but how are you going to do it? Labor doesn't have a clue, and they tell lies. However, they are disciplined, ruthless, and very good at politics and winning elections. They will have an army of apparatchiks going over everything Angus Taylor has ever said, hoping to discredit him. In politics, winning is not the most important thing. It's the only thing. Others have said it, but I think James Patterson said it best. And I think first, the Liberals must change or die. It never should have come to this, of course. Susan Lee should not have been elected leader. Oh, we have a problem with women, so we must elect more women. Rubbish. It's not about gender. The only criteria for any appointment, unless you're running a sheltered workshop, is the best person for the job. A meritocracy. As you know, I've been a fan of changing the leadership of the Liberal Party for months. Not only, but partially, because the polls indicated that Susan Lee couldn't win. Winning is everything. Simply not popular. The people weren't listening. There was no point in persevering. Politics is rough and tough. Politics is about winning. Firstly, it's a battle of ideas, principles, and conviction. And then you set about selling those things to us, we the people. One thing I sort of resent is the fact that Angus Taylor picked Wednesday to resign from the front bench of the opposition, which began his ascension to the top job on Friday. His announcement sucked all the oxygen out of the story which could have, and in fact should have, brought down the Labor government. This is the connection to and the defence of the CFMEU, a corrupt, criminal, discredited organisation. Everyone should be aware of the story. It goes back 2 years. It won Nick McKenzie a gold Walkley. The government selected an administrator, promised to clean up the CFMEU. If it hadn't been for the Age newspaper and this wonderful guy Nick McKenzie again, we wouldn't know that the union executives, far from being named and shamed and punished and removed from power, have been rewarded and encouraged and promoted. How could that possibly happen? 2 years after that original story. The trade union movement, who owns the Labor Party, donate millions of dollars, members' money, even though those members might not vote Labor. The money comes back to the union from the taxpayer via the government after the election. How sweet it is. A really nice little round robin. Why would Labor interfere with such a scenario? The evidence is on the table. But, ladies and gentlemen, the government doesn't and won't change a thing. Does that make Labor as corrupt as the CFMEU? Is it living off the proceeds of crime? A few years ago, all of this would have been enough to bring down a government. Crime, corruption, violence, and extortion, and that explosive report, the story by Nick McKenzie in The Age last Wednesday. 2 years after the CFMEU made the front page of that same paper, exposing the whole sordid mess, and we learn on Wednesday that nothing's changed. No improvements, still rotten. It seems the CFMEU has total contempt for the law. Mark Irving, the administrator, has done what? What? CFMEU corruption has added $15 billion or more, some say up to $30 billion, to the big build infrastructure program in Melbourne, which is an enormous Labor government, state and federal investment in road and rail. Do you understand this? It cost the people of Victoria up to $30 billion more than it should have. That money went straight into crime and corruption, and oh yes, strippers. Strippers as well. Well, petty cash for the strippers, I guess. And the Labor Party, after having they were alerted 2 years ago, pretended to know nothing about it. It's amazing. How could it be? They knew nothing about the crime, the corruption, the dirty deals, the standover tactics, the bullying, the harassment, the misogyny. It reminds me of the old BLF. You know, Norm Gallagher, the old BLF, and the Waterside Workers Union. They simply closed up when it got too hot and then started up under another name. Same people, and they get away with it. It's quite amazing. And apart from Nick McKenzie and this court of public opinion in the garage here, where is the media? The whole thing stinks, and it has for years. Do you remember Chris Corrigan? Chris Corrigan and his company, stevedoring company called Patrick's? You remember the rorts on the waterfront, the ghost workers, the people who never turned up, never even existed, but had to be paid by Patrick's or the union would strike, walk off. blackmailers, criminals, extortionists, supported by a government that looked the other way. Chris Corrigan held his ground and he stuck to his guns, and the union was deregistered. Terrific. But reformed months later with the same people, different name. You see, when you own the police force, when you actually own the police force, you know that you can control the outcome. The unions have this power because when Labor is in power, they own the cop on the beat. This surely can't be allowed to go on. 2 years ago, the government pretended it knew nothing about corruption and criminal involvement in the CFMEU. Shock horror, they said. We'll fix it. Well, they didn't. They haven't. It's a total disgrace, and we should not tolerate it. And as I said, this disgraceful story has been given scant coverage, and I would just love to know why. I think I'd better give you some dates and shut up, because some heavy is going to come through that door down there any second. You see, you're not allowed to say the sort of things I say. It's February the 17th. I hope it's a good day. If it's a birthday or a wedding anniversary, I hope it's splendid. It's fairly warm here, I must tell you. Oh golly, the things you see. Sardines first canned by Julius Wolfe from Eastport, Maine on this day in 1876. Can you imagine somebody having the presence of mind to write down the date and remember the occasion? I love it.
He probably hasn't forgotten.
Bob Dylan and Johnny Cash record an album on this day in 1969. Pete, you know what?
What?
It was never released.
Well, I was wondering because I didn't remember it.
Never released. It could be worth a fortune these days, if you could find one. On this day, 1938, the first public experimental demonstration of bared colour TV occurs in London. Back in 1938, they had colour television. Primitive, but it was there. Arthur Ashwell patents the vacant engaged toilet lock in London, England on this day in 1883. And before this day in 1883, you had to take pot luck. Sorry. Christopher Latham Sholes, American newspaper man, politician, and inventor of the typewriter, dies of tuberculosis in 1890. He was 71 years old. You know, this is not quite that old, but getting on. Sales of Volkswagen Beetle model exceeds those of the Ford Model T on this day in 1972. 1981, Chrysler Corporation reports the largest corporate loss in US business history. 2020, General Motors announced it is retiring the Holden brand in Australasia. That should not have happened. Ed Sheeran, English singer, songwriter, guitarist, Shape of You, Thinking Out Loud. What's The Shape of You? Lego House. Oh, was that a movie? Anyway, born in Halifax, England in 1991. God, he's young. 1991. In Australia, Nationalist Party takes over a coalition government. Did I mention William Cadbury? No, I didn't. No. William Cadbury, British chocolate manufacturer, Cadbury's, born in Edgbaston, England, in 1867. He died in 1957, lived a good life. Listen, you guys, in celebration, I brought down the classic, the one and only, Cadbury's Dairy Milk Chocolate, classic dairy milk. One for each of us.
A glass and a half.
Now, Caroline organised that, thank you.
A glass and a half. in every
Gary,
pot.
a glass and a half. And do you know they came up with this colour, this blue, and it's patented. They patented it a bit like what was the motorcycle company that registered the note that came out of the
Oh,
exhaust?
it's Harley Davidson.
Harley Davidson. That's actually a registered trademark kind of thing. So the blue Cadbury's Dairy Milk, famous chocolate, is trademarked. Even the colour of the wrapper. Very good. Thank you, Caroline. Geronimo, Apache leader. There's a picture of him over there somewhere. Resistance fighter, he called himself. He dies at 79, and that was on this day in 1909. Johnson & Johnson announces that it will no longer sell capsule drugs. 1986. The British Parliament votes to join the economic or the European Economic Community. Well, that was just a free trade thing. That was probably a good idea. But I don't know about the rest of the hookup. The world's first superhero, the Phantom, a cartoon strip by Lee Falk, makes its first appearance in comics on this day in 1936. Joan Collins gets married. She was 68. Her fifth husband, Percy Gibson, he was 36, half her age. Claridge's Hotel in London on this day in 2002. And Paris Hilton, American heiress, famous for
Being famous.
Famous for being famous. Television personality, The Simple Life, and oh yes, there was that home video that
Push things along a bit.
pushed things along a bit, yes. Born in New York City, 1981. The first issue of the American news magazine Newsweek is published, 1833. And the first weather satellite is launched in 1959. Vanguard 2, 9.8 kilos. And as I think I said the other day, up until such an event, they used to look out the window with great accuracy. Thank you for being with us. We'll be posting another Facebook version or episode of the Court of Public Opinion from the garage on Thursday morning at 9 o'clock. Thank you for all your feedback and your comments. I'm very grateful. Don't forget to, what do you say, press the subscribe button?
Press the subscribe button
Yes.
when you go to Facebook.
Yes, and you're not paying any money. I don't want nothing like that. It's all free.
I'll bob up every Tuesday and Thursday morning.
And I will bob up. I will bob up for you. That's all you've got to do. I'll see you on Thursday. This has been Jeremy Cordeaux in the Court of Public Opinion. Believe in yourself, and goodbye for now.